Hello and welcome back to FPL with Old Man Phil. And if you are a brand new visitor, I'm Phil and welcome to the channel. And do subscribe, like, and help us to get to 10k subscribers. We are so close. And a great big thank you to everybody who has supported the channel up to this point. Having played my wild card in game week 3, I was forced into it with the injuries I had, and looking at the state of the team, I felt that I had no other option. Only getting 55 points in a wild card week. Am I disappointed? I should be, but I'm actually not. It's been extremely difficult to predict how games are going to go in this Premier League season. And last week it was almost impossible to predict that Manchester City would lose at home to Tottenham. And there were 3 shock results this week, including Manchester City's shock defeat against Brighton, 2-1. Then we had West Ham going to Nottingham Forest and turning them over 3-0. Totally unpredictable. And then Bournemouth going away to Spurs and getting a 1-0 victory. And that's where I probably made the one mistake that I made this week, thinking that Spurs were probably good for a clean sheet against Bournemouth. I decided to play Udogie. A poor call at the end of the day, but I thought that given the fixtures that were coming up, that Spurs had every chance over the next few game weeks of getting a few clean sheets, starting with their home fixture against Bournemouth. But Bournemouth defied all the odds. Had I not decided to double up on the Spurs defence, I wouldn't have played Senesi, who hauled with 14 points. I would have actually put Goodmanson instead of Udogie. I took the chance on Udogie and therefore missed out on 8 points. So I would have got a score of 63 at the end of the day had I made the correct decision. I did make one correct decision, captaining Haaland over Wood or Salah. I thought that was probably the right thing to do, and despite their defeat, Haaland did get the goal and the 3 bonus points for a haul of 18, where Salah blanked and Wood surprisingly blanked as well. It was a strange game week. West Ham also found their form, and Bowen finally got himself on the score sheet. And we have to think carefully about West Ham now as they've reverted to a back 4. Overall, I've got an overall green arrow going up this week to 2.5 million. It's not great, but it's not bad as we come into the international break. The only bad thing about it is that I have dropped down to 22nd in the Old Man Phil League, and that's not good. We've got to start progressing, and we've got to start being a little bit more patient as we go in to the game weeks coming up after the international break. I'm hoping that there won't be any injuries to the team, and the Goodmanson's injury is just minor and there's nothing to worry about there. So I'm hoping to have a clean slate when they come back from the international break. Am I planning to do anything at this point? Not at all. So providing that everything goes well during the break and I don't come back from that with so many injuries that I have to use a transfer, then I'm going to leave the team as it is. And I suspect that game week 4 is going to be as difficult to call as game week 3. And at the moment, I'm going with Sells in goal. Senesi will come in. Brighton at home looks a good fixture for Bournemouth. Van der Ven, I'm not going to double up on the Spurs defence because I'm unsure that Udogie will start. Jed Spence is in very good form there on the left-hand side. And Udogie probably is going to have to fight his way back into the team. Not forgetting that the European competitions are going to be starting on the Tuesday and Wednesday after game week 4. So for the European teams, there has to be some kind of rotation going on, probably from game week 5. So I'm unsure of Udogie, so I'll just play Van der Ven at the back. Richards, who has Sunderland at home, is a no-brainer. And then I decided I think that I have to play Goodmanson. He's playing Fulham away, and Leeds' form is good. And I'm going to take a quick look at why Leeds players are players that you should be thinking about, as well as players from other teams. And then Sarr in midfield with Salah. Caicedo will come in. He has Brentford away. That's probably a better fixture than Reinders, or Wood has Wood, who is away at Arsenal and probably needs to be benched for game week 4. And Semenyo with Brighton at home will make up the midfield. Up front then I'll play João Pedro and Haaland. So continuing with this Salah and Haaland draft, just hoping that one of them will pick up the points. Burnley away for Salah makes it a no-brainer that he's captain. I'm actually considering playing the triple captain. He hasn't been in great form, Salah. There's a reason for that, and we'll take a look at that as well in a second. But I think against Burnley, you've got to back Salah, and so he will probably take the captain's armband in game week 4 over Haaland. Manchester City have every chance of getting a result at home to Manchester United, and if they do win against United, I would expect Haaland to be on the score sheet in that game. So it's a tough choice, but I think probably the easy choice is Salah with Burnley away. But I'm still not yet 100% and may yet go with Haaland for the Manchester United game. So going into game week 4, I feel slightly more optimistic about how things are working out. A lot of people had poor starts just like I did. I would say at the moment, don't panic. If you've got an 11 that you can put on the field after the international break, don't panic. You don't really need to do anything at this point. We don't know how teams are performing and how they're going to square up over the next few game weeks. The league, I don't think, has really taken shape yet. One thing that we do know is that Liverpool are firing on all cylinders. Normally, when you would see Liverpool played 3-1-3, you'd be looking to captain Salah. You'd be looking to have as many Liverpool players as you can in your team. Defensively, I don't think Liverpool are that great, despite the fact they kept a clean sheet against Arsenal. And I wouldn't be rushing at this point in time to bring in very expensive Liverpool defenders who probably will let you down in the next few game weeks. Looking at Liverpool's fixtures over the next few weeks, you've got Burnley away, Everton at home. That's not an easy game. And then Crystal Palace away, Chelsea away, Manchester United home. I don't think it is the right time to be bringing in Liverpool players into your team, especially defenders. And the situation is complicated by the fact that Isak has not yet moved to Liverpool. I suspect it might happen by the end of the day. So at the very least, wait until the deadline before thinking about bringing Isak in. And those with Ekitike, I would hold on to Ekitike. Isak hasn't played any football and is unlikely just to go straight into that Liverpool team, especially with Liverpool looking very dangerous attacking-wise, and Ekitike has been doing particularly well. I wouldn't rush to get rid of Ekitike and bring Isak in instead. I think that Liverpool are going to take time, even if he does go there, to settle him in. I can't see it happening, so those of you who've got Ekitike, I would hold on to him. I do know there are a lot of people who are considering that it's time up for Salah. He's got a little bit older. Is he likely to perform as well as he did last season? I'm not so sure that he will, but he is still a very, very good asset. And with Burnley coming up next, I think we have to hold on to him. The problem for Salah owners is that Salah's going to have to share the returns a lot more this year. And with players like Gakpo in extremely good form, Wirtz looks very good. Although he's not getting returns at the moment, I'm pretty sure he will. Ekitike is grabbing all the headlines with the goals he's scoring, and they are also being backed up very, very well from midfield. So Salah is going to have to share the returns. He's still on penalties. That does make him a very good asset. And I wouldn't be thinking of getting rid of Salah at the moment, and I've had a lot of people talk to me about that. Is it time up for Salah and just go with Haaland? It's a big decision at the moment. Personally, I had brought Salah and Haaland into this wildcard team because I wanted to make a decision at around game week 7 when Arsenal's fixtures get a lot better. At that point, I want to bring in at least 2 Arsenal players, and so either Haaland or Salah will have to go. At the moment, it's looking pretty much like Salah has to go. I think in terms of predicting returns, I think we have to look at the teams who are performing well in the transition. And by that, I mean when they are winning the ball, they are distributing the ball at speed. And this is what I have noticed from the first 3 game weeks. The teams that are doing particularly well are able to win the ball and move it forward at great speed. Manchester City, playing this very controlled possession type game, it's much slower, in the same way that Arsenal are also trying to play a very controlled possession game. When they transition, they are not moving the ball forward as fast as they would be normally doing for the last few seasons. Arsenal and City at the moment are actually suffering because they are transitioning the ball and then they are much slower building attacks, which allows rest defences to get back into position to nullify a threat. So Manchester City and Arsenal are not players at the moment that I would be looking to bring in. Arsenal definitely from game week 7, but I already have Manchester City players in my team. I'm not looking to add more to that. Reinders is still, for me, not worth bringing in. He's not worth selling at this point. And we need to get a feel now after the international break about rotation. He's not been prolific. Those who brought him in after game week 1, after his 10-point haul, are probably feeling very disappointed that they did that now. He's not been prolific, but he's been steady, and he's played 90 minutes in all 3 games, or almost 90 minutes. So is he a good asset? Well, the jury's still out. When Manchester City are in Europe, then rotation is going to take place. How many minutes he's going to get then from week to week, we'll have to wait and see. And then Haaland. Haaland is Mr. Steady himself. Despite the fact that Manchester City are not playing extremely well, he is very dangerous in front of goal, and he will continue to be all throughout the season. He is the main man for Manchester City. He is in there to score the goals, and I'm expecting that that's how it's going to turn out, and he's going to get his lion's share of the goals that Manchester City score. Unlike Salah, who's going to have to share the returns about amongst that front line and the midfielders who are playing behind him. So for me, it's likely in game week 7, in order to get a couple of Arsenal players in, that the Salah will be the one that goes, in order that I can afford to bring the Arsenal players in that I'm looking at. I will be looking at bringing in Saka and Gyökeres from game week 7, because Arsenal's run of fixtures from then gets a lot better. But the teams for me that are doing well in the transition phase and moving the ball very quickly up in the front 4 area of the pitch are teams like Everton, Crystal Palace and Leeds. And I would be looking seriously at getting in players from those particular teams. And I think that it's teams like that where the returns are going to come from. Goodmanson of Leeds is a very, very good pick. And I think that he's going to continue to get returns. And particularly as Leeds are defending extremely well at the moment. They play at a very high tempo. They are putting teams under a lot of pressure. And I expect to see that again as they play Fulham away in the next game week. I think that Leeds are a team that people should be looking at to bring at least one player in, whether that be defensively or in attack. Don't underestimate teams like Leeds or Sunderland this year. They're going to do better, I think, this year as promoted teams than we've seen in the last few seasons. They're playing with much more intensity, and they're playing very direct when they turn the ball over, and this is causing problems for the opposition. Crystal Palace are playing exactly the same way, sitting in that low block. When they win the ball, they move it forward very quickly. They get a lot of bodies forward. This is causing the defences problems, and players like Sarr are extremely good players. Mateta is another one. Very, very good players to be thinking about having in your squad over the coming game weeks. And that brings me to Everton. There are a number of players we should be looking at from Everton. Everton, whose fixtures are not that bad, and they are creating problems for whoever they come up against. And the reason why they're doing that is that the 3 players they've got across the line in that attacking midfield area, Njai, Dewsbury Hall and Grealish, they are interchanging with each other, and they are moving about so much. Everton are also transitioning at speed, and this is causing defenders a lot of problems, and Everton are scoring very freely at the moment. And those three players are actually involved a lot. This means then that Beto is actually getting some goals. He must think it's his birthday because he's never had such good supply from the attacking mids before. Everton are a team to be keeping an eye on. They are going to score goals. They will probably concede goals as well. They are going to lose matches, but when they win games, those three players are definitely going to be involved. Dewsbury Hall at 5 million looks like a very, very good pick at the moment. Grealish is the one that people are actually looking at. And Jai is also a very good pick, and he has penalties. Which one or two of those three that you pick, I think might be very good picks. And I'm thinking at the moment that we should be focusing on the teams like this who are good on transition. Spurs had a freak result on the weekend. I still think Spurs players are good value, and Chelsea players are also good value. I wouldn't rush out to buy Enzo Fernandez at this point in time, as the Chelsea fixtures are getting a little bit tougher, and also European competition means that rotations are going to come into effect. We don't know how that's going to pan out yet. I wouldn't rush to buy Chelsea players, but I would be thinking about bringing Everton players in, definitely, as well as Crystal Palace players. Sarr and Mateta in particular would be particularly good to bring in, I think, at this stage. And so those are just my initial thoughts on what has been an okay game week. I'd played my wildcard, 55 points. I have gone up 1 million in the rankings, 1.2 millions, just with 55 points. I think a lot of people are suffering this year. And if you can get over 50 points, you're doing okay. And so my advice to anybody is to not panic. We've got an international break coming up now. There's no need to panic. I would say just keep an eye on these Crystal Palace, the Leeds players, the Bournemouth players who may well start to get returns now. And to stop thinking about bringing in players from City and from Liverpool. Having one or two players from these teams, yes, is good, but are they all going to get returns every week? Well, we've clearly seen up to now that they're not. And so until the season settles down a little bit, I would be looking at players like Everton, Leeds, Bournemouth and Crystal Palace for the time being. Bring in players from there. That will help to enhance your squad, I think. And although I'm not planning to make any transfers until game week 7, I do have to consider that I might have to bring in one of those 3 Everton players that I've previously mentioned. Everton will be playing Villa at home, who are not playing extremely well. This will be a good test of how well those Everton forwards are performing. And then they play Liverpool away. So I'm going to keep an eye on them. And in the Villa game, I won't bring them in game week 5, but I may be tempted to bring one of them in if they are still performing well for the West Ham game and the Crystal Palace game. So lots of decisions to be made over the coming game weeks. But at the moment, not going to panic. If you've got a good team at the moment, if you're getting 50 points at the moment or more, then you're in good shape. If you are brand new to the channel, subscribe, like, do all that good stuff that you can see on the screen. It helps the channel and it'll help me to get to 10,000 subscribers. I never thought I'd get anywhere near that. It will be a big day for me when it arrives. So to all those who've supported the channel in the past, I thoroughly appreciate your support. And that's it for this video. All that remains to be said now is stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.